Find your mouthpiece and put on your jock straps. It's the Sports Blitz with Doug and Robbie.
Okay, how long is your show?
You guys have such a great setup.
Hey, listen, if you're under a rock or if you're in a cave, come on out and listen to our episode.
It was fun talking baseball. I love talking Red Sox. I love talking coaching.
I don't care because I would rather there not be an MLB season than have to sit and watch the colossal embarrassment.
Hey, hello, I am Bloom. Yeah, it's Doug and Robbie from the Sports Blitz. I just wanted to find out whether you need some pitching.
There you go. In 5, 4, 3.
Good evening and welcome everyone to episode number 82 of the Sports Blitz. My name is Doug and we have Robbie here. Robbie, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Doug. Doing great. Happy NFL draft night. Always an exciting night of the year. And just very excited to be here for another thrilling episode of the Sports Blitz. Hope everybody's doing well out there. And just so excited, Doug. So excited as always.
Absolutely. So if you're in a cave or you're under a rock, come on out and see our episode. If you're not, I would say just go back in and just don't go back out because it's really not worth it at this point in time. We do have a sponsor. Our new sponsor is Zimon Organizing. Give a call. You know, we can. We're going to give you that information. The information
Link will be in the description.
The link will be on the description. So check it out. And as Robbie said, this is our special draft episode. And Robbie, you know, everyone has an opinion about what will happen during the draft tonight.
Oh yeah.
Mel Kiper, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Jason LaCanfora, and even Peter King, including Tommy Curran too, local. And tonight we have our own draft expert. Here, our special guest tonight is someone I have known for most, if not all, of my life. It's my brother Josh. Josh, how you doing tonight?
I'm trying to make that work like the most of your life scenario. I suppose you didn't know me before I was born. That's true.
I really did.
That's true. Hey, thank you very much for bringing me on. I would not call myself necessarily a draft expert, but what I will say is this. I will say I've been watching it very, very closely because I'm a Patriots fan. Yeah. So I think that this is the most important draft that the Patriots have had for 20 years, maybe. So that's why I'm really, really digging in and learning who's in the draft this year and the quarterback class, which is tremendous. So that's why I've been really paying attention. So I'm really happy that you brought me on. Thank you very much. Looking forward to talking to you guys.
Absolutely. We're very glad that you're here, and we're very interested because I know that you also do some sports, not just betting, but you also do some I believe it's the NFL football kind of
I do have fantasy.
Fantasy.
Yeah, I play fantasy. As far as betting is concerned, I only do that in legal states, Doug.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
But when I'm in those states, I like to sports bet. Only on football, though. Only on football.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That totally
makes
sense.
But yes, I do enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely. And fantasy football is huge because you have to, obviously you have to know some players and who to pick and who not to pick. And especially the new ones coming in, the new rookies, you're going to have to know that too. So it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to kind of ask you, like right up front, all the sports radio has been talking about just crazy, trying to get some other sports in on sports radio is just kind of crazy. If you listen to sports radio, every time I turn it on, they're talking about the Patriots and draft. And I understand that because football's huge all around the country, all around the world. I get it. It's probably one of the number one sports around. And of course, around here, it makes sense. But I wanted to get a sense from you, Josh, what your thoughts are on. I mean, I tried to call Bill today, but he wouldn't answer my calls, and I get it. He's busy. But I'm just trying to get a sense of kind of where Bill is headed. Are we going to, and it's kind of a three-part question, where Bill is headed. Is he going to pick at 15? Is he going to pick at 15? If he does pick at 15, we'll answer some of those in a little bit. But the first question is, where's Bill headed with this thing?
Yeah, so nobody will ever know where Bill is headed. So that's an impossible question to answer. And even with the local pundits, guys, they don't know anything either. And Mel
All guesses.
Kiper's fun, but he doesn't know anything either. He has his knowledge is not around the mock draft. His knowledge is around the players who would be in the possible draft positions. So I don't take anything from his mock draft either. But from a Bill Belichick perspective, it's fun because he could do anything.
Right.
And I love the fact that the local people, the local pundits, what they do is they say, well, Bill never does this. He never picks a quarterback in the first round. He never moves up in the first round. But he could do just about anything. I mean, he literally spent over $200 million in free agents this year.
Yeah.
Never done
Oh,
that
yeah.
before.
Never done that before.
Yeah.
But the thing about Bill is he structures every year differently based on the way where it's going with the team. And he moves and shakes based off of what he has available to him. This past offseason, it was a heck of a lot of cap space, right? So once Tom Brady's dead money went away, which is this year, like it grew exponentially. It's like 60 million in cap space. At the same time as he had that cap space, the rest of the league had less cap space this year because of that certain virus and people not going into the football stands. They had less. The salary cap went down this year, so he wasn't bidding against himself. He literally was able to get all these free agents because the other teams did not have the space under their cap to do it. Kind of brilliant if you think about it. But I just want to add something really quick.
Yeah.
And that is that he has now 80 players on the roster.
Right.
And you only get 90. So, and there's always, undrafted free agents. So if I were to guess about what he'd do tonight.
But wait, you mean he didn't take all the free agents?
He nearly did.
I was like, wait, every 5 seconds he was picking a player.
No, seriously, he nearly did. He took most of the top tier players.
Most of the top tier UFA, yeah.
Yeah.
Both the top 2 tight ends, at least. That was something else.
Exactly. So, but since he has 80 men in his roster, he doesn't need as many draft picks. As a matter of fact, he's got 10 draft picks in the next 3 days. If he picks 10 guys, I will be shocked. What he's going to do is he's going to trade out of some of these rounds into next year. He might be, this is the year to move up in the draft because he can take a couple of draft picks that he essentially doesn't need.
Right.
This year. So,
well, next year, sorry to interrupt, Josh, but next year I hear the position players are like not a lot of QBs next year as opposed to this year where the QBs are,
I've heard
5
that
in the first round. But
yeah, Doug, I've heard that too, but I can't remember a year before where we knew what quarterbacks were coming out.
Right.
That's what kind of year that they're having.
Yep.
And
again, I'm following the pundits. That's
the next Tom Brady could be in next year's class. We don't know.
Right.
Agreed. Yeah. I will agree with you that this year's quarterback class is rated extremely high. I mean, there's at least eight-ish guys out there who could be picked in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I'm very curious to see what Bill's going to do with that first round pick, especially. I mean, over the course of the entire draft as well. And what I'm kind of curious to hear, and actually from both you guys, is to sort of get that $1 million question out there with that 15th pick. First of all, is he gonna hold on to it and actually pick in it, or is he going to get rid of it and trade up, as we were just talking about, or whatever the case may be? But if he does pick in it, is he going to go with the quarterback? And Josh, I'll ask you first on this because you're the special guest, but is he going to pick a quarterback? And if not, what other positions / players could we see him maybe going after with number 15?
That's an excellent question. You know what? I see 3 scenarios. Okay. Scenario one is he picks at 15. He picks the best positional player out there. And then in round 2, he picks a quarterback, one of the 3 other guys that nobody's talking about. Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, and Mills. Okay, those
Mills,
3
yeah.
guys. So Davis Mills out of Stanford.
Yeah.
He's that's what I think he would do. He can move up in the draft, but he'll have to move up to something like 7, 8, 9. Which he, in his last press conference, he was talking about moving up to 12 or something. He'd have to move to 7, 8, 9 if he wants potentially who is left from that first 5. But the third piece, guys, something that got brought up today.
This is the kicker.
I don't know if you guys realize that Teddy Bridgewater was traded to the Denver Broncos.
Yes, heard about that today. Yes,
that sends a couple of dominoes falling, and I'll tell you why. First of all, is Denver going to be
looking for a quarterback,
taking a quarterback?
right? Yeah.
Secondly, and more importantly, it shortens the market for a guy in San Francisco that we know very well, named Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and from the standpoint of San Francisco, at 3, they are picking their next quarterback.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you're Jimmy Garoppolo and you've got a no trade clause and you got all it, Jimmy Garoppolo is not a backup quarterback and is the kid who gets picked at 3 not going to play next year. Highly doubtful.
Right.
So I see a possibility of Bill making a deal with San Francisco to pull Jimmy Garoppolo back. Or maybe either a 2nd round pick or 3rd. Money, all this other stuff. I know that the salary cap is a thing, but they'll figure out the salary cap situation. And then Jimmy Garoppolo comes back to New England, and they take like the best positional player at 15. Probably, either an offensive lineman. There's some offensive linemen that may fall. Or,
Micah, the CB.
Yeah,
His name Micah.
Yeah. Micah Parsons is his name.
Parsons, yeah.
And he's a great player. He's a top 5 player in any other draft. And so he might go with him. He might go for one of those receivers. Some of these receivers in the early part of the draft are pretty amazing. I watched Devontae Smith. He was awesome. I mean, he's a tiny guy, but
that national title game, unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, so he's a special player. I mean, he's small, but Bill doesn't care about that stuff. He wants football players. Yeah. So I mean, that's what I see as the three possible scenarios.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I wanted to ask you, now that we brought up Jimmy G, I don't know. In my opinion, he's a top 10 quarterback in the league when he's healthy. The issue I have is his health. And, when he gets a fingernail, that's a problem. He's out for, 6 games. So I kind of have a little bit of an issue. I mean, if he's healthy, I don't have an issue at all. He was under Brady for several years. He knows the system. Bill loves him to death. I mean, loves him like man love, like really man love. So I totally get that too. But my concern is his health and what will happen if something does happen. Are we putting Cam as a backup? Are we putting, are we doing Stidham as a backup? I mean, I get a little nervous about his health.
So Doug, at the end of the day, if they get Garoppolo, or let's say a 3rd, they'll pick one of those 3 guys that I just talked about in the second. Right, They're going to come out of the draft with a quarterback. I'm going to write this one down. They will come out of the draft with a quarterback. I don't know what.
Robbie, write that down.
I don't know what round it will be. I don't know what round it will be, or if it's a guy that we know, or if it's in that top 8. But they will come out of the draft with a quarterback. The question is, who is going to be the starter and who's going to be the one learning. And if you get a guy in later rounds, they are probably not NFL ready yet. So it will all depend on what happens with the Jimmy Garoppolo situation.
Right.
Because I am fairly certain that they're working on something right now. Because
Ooh,
what would happen
inside information. You heard it here, folks.
with Jimmy Garoppolo?
Sports Blitz.
San Francisco has to make a decision.
Right.
Okay.
Are they gonna
They're
Yeah.
either going to release him in August,
Right.
which is like way too late. Okay. And get nothing for him,
Which is stupid.
or they're going
For
to make
them.
a deal and get some capital back for him. Okay. So it's really up to them. I mean, again, they might look, I don't know what Shanahan is doing. I have no idea. He could just say, you know what, Garoppolo is going to start this year. I think that's crap personally. But I think if you're going to pick a top 3 guy, you're going to probably put him in. If they're talking about Mac Jones is as NFL ready as any quarterback in the draft, quite frankly. I mean, I
Right.
know there's all this buzz around Fields and, and Lance and
Yeah, because the quarterbacks today, I mean, Mac Jones is more of a pocket passer, supposedly, whatever that
Totally.
means,
totally, and it fits into
as opposed to
Shanahan's
Fields
system.
and Trevor Lawrence and those guys who actually are like, Lamar Jackson or something like that, where they're able to run out of things and be able to make plays and that kind of thing. But I mean, yeah, I've heard that too. I think what it comes down to, Josh and Robbie, it sounds like to me, you gotta find out who's taking who. Obviously, we know Trevor Lawrence is going first, so we don't have to worry about him. So who are the other 4? Who are the other 4 people? Who are the other 4 quarterbacks?
So
And
the Jets are already in there for the
Jets,
for
you
the
think
next guy.
the Wilson? So you think, yeah, okay. So the Jets are taking Wilson too. So that's 2. So we got 3 others that are, whatever, top 10, whatever you call it, top 15, top 10. So you got to figure out who the other 3 are, and then you got other guys. This guy Trask from Florida. I saw YouTube on him. He's really good. He's like a guy who is, I mean, he's good.
Second
He's
round guy.
tall. Yeah. Yes, definitely second round guy.
guy.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I saw some YouTube on Mills too, and he's really good too. I mean, not like, I mean, yeah, maybe he's not a number 1, but still, I mean, neither was Brady. So let's look at this in the real, real world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes out of Stanford too, Doug. I mean,
yeah. Stanford's a good school and a good.
I mean,
it's a
he's
great
not
program.
no dummy,
Correct.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, go ahead, Rob.
No, I was just gonna say you're right. I mean, like we were just saying, like this quarterback class is, even outside the top 3 is a very impressive quarterback class. And so if the route that Bill goes is to get a quarterback through making an actual draft pick, you have a good chance at getting somebody who maybe not in year 1, but down the road could be a successful NFL franchise quarterback. It's hard, at least from what I'm seeing out of those guys that are, sort of in that discussion right now. So
Yeah, agreed. It's really funny because when you look back on previous drafts and you look at the quarterbacks, it isn't like a slam dunk if somebody like gets picked 3rd or 4th or whatever that they're going to be rock stars.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence. Nobody's talked about Trevor Lawrence because he's always been for Jacksonville, but he could fall on his face.
Right.
I mean, do you remember the Drew Bledsoe draft? Anybody? Anyone remember the Drew Bledsoe draft?
I'm not sure of the Drew Bledsoe draft. I'm not sure, but I was looking at the last draft with Lamar and Darnold and that group. That's the one I kind of focused on.
The reason I'm pointing it out is because there were 2 quarterbacks in that draft who were NFL ready, great quarterbacks, and San Diego Chargers had the first pick, and they picked a guy by the name of Ryan Leaf.
Oh yes, yep,
yeah.
Right?
That turned out
I mean,
well.
At the end of the day, we don't know how they're going to be in the NFL.
Right.
And so that's why That's why Belichick is less about the hype and more about the scouting
Right.
and looking for smart guys who know how to read. I don't mean read books.
No,
I mean read the defense.
Read defense.
Right. And like, people who are really, really easily coached. Like those are the things that like he looks for.
Willing for coaching, because there's a couple guys out there that I was hearing about on NFL Network that said that there's a couple guys out there that are not willing to take coaching very well, and those guys are not.
Yeah, they will never be on the Patriots.
Yeah, not good guys to pick up.
Yeah, exactly. So from that standpoint, you can have all the talent in the world. You could be the best athlete in the draft. If you can't be coached, you may not last in this league. NFL will stand for not for long for those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just, and the Patriots even more so, because that's why they want to grab Jimmy if they can, because they know him and he knows the system and he could jump in on day one.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, hey, listen, I would love nothing more than to see Jimmy Garoppolo back here in a Patriots uniform. I wonder if the price is going to be right, first of all, and if San Francisco and Bill would both pull the trigger on that. The sort of the one other thing I wanted to touch on, then Doug, I'll throw it back over to you, is in terms of, sort of setting aside the quarterback position. I actually kind of want to get, again, both of your guys' take on this. What position or what area, it could be either offensive or defensive, besides quarterback, obviously, would you guys like to see the Patriots sort of get better at through this draft? Because obviously the quarterback isn't the only position where the Patriots need some help if they want to sort of get back to, the playoff years, so to speak.
Doug, you want to take that up front first?
Yeah, sure. I can take it up front. I think we need a little help on run defense. I think the run defense has been pretty good. Last year it was horrendous. I mean, there were teams that were not good at all that were running on us like crazy. We did have obviously a few guys out because of COVID. So
yeah,
it
a
makes
lot
sense.
of guys out for
We
COVID.
did.
Yeah, and I get that too.
Few key names.
I also get that, and we obviously we did, and every other team did too, and I totally get that. But I think that's, I mean, when you're talking about, but when you also in the drafts in the past, if you look at anything in the last 20 years, Bill is huge on defense. He wants defensive players. He always wants a great defensive player. He's always looking for defense. Every once in a while, he looks for an offensive line guy to protect his quarterback, but typically he's looking for, and we just picked up a whole bunch of people. So I'm not sure what we're looking for now, just because, when you're talking about, picking up, different guys on the free agent racket, which he pretty much did about, 65% of them. It's hard to kind of figure out kind of what the needs are. I just know last year was the running defense was a little lacking, and I understand about the fact that we had some guys out. Hightower, a perfect example of someone that was out. Maybe Bentley, who was more of a smaller guy in that respect, but a little bit, he's always hurt in some capacity. But again, I think, trying to think of some of these younger guys, coming in and doing that, I just think that's the first thing that came to my mind. Obviously, I want to get Josh's opinion on this too. I think something like somebody offensively, like a wide receiver. I know Antonio Brown just signed with Tampa Bay. That's, Tampa Bay's got their whole team back, which it doesn't really matter, but it's one of those things where I think wide receivers is huge. And we would, Josh, you were just talking a couple minutes ago how the wide receivers just amazing in this draft. So, that's probably another one that I can think of. Josh, which position players do you think Bill should go after other than QB?
Yeah, I think that's a really good analysis, Doug. I think that Bill does want to get his defense. I do know that a lot of the Patriots had the most guys, opt out. But Patrick Chung is gone. He's retired.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
And Stephon Gilmore, he might not be long for this team. And
Makes sense.
Devin McCourty's getting older. I honestly believe that cornerback or defensive back is a huge need going forward. We need some young. We got a couple in the last draft, and it was Jawan, I think. I don't remember his last name.
Yeah.
But
Johnson, Jojuan Johnson, I think.
yeah,
it was.
that's exactly who it is. But I think that they need some help there. You know, as a matter of fact, I would be shocked if, you know, with all the things that we're discussing at 15, if one of those top cornerbacks, like J.C. Horn,
Yep.
or Patrick Surtain the second, if
Yeah,
those
Alabama.
guys, if those guys drop, like, I would be shocked if Bill wouldn't take those guys, because he loves to pick cornerbacks in drafts. He doesn't generally. The one time he went to free agency on a cornerback was Stephon Gilmore. It's the one time that I can remember. He probably has done it before, but you know, he drafts well with cornerbacks, and I think that that's an area of concern going forward because there's not a lot of depth there.
Josh, you think Devin McCourty's going to be on the team? Isn't he a restricted free agent right now?
No. Devin McCourty will be on the the
Oh, okay, because I know
Jason McCourty.
Oh, it's Jason. Sorry,
will be on probably. I think he was talking to the Giants. Yeah. Jason will not be on the team this year, but Devin will. Devin signed a long-term deal like 2 or 3 years.
Right. It was Jason I was talking about. They're twins. I get them mixed up. So
yeah, don't get them mixed up.
Totally get them mixed up.
But I think that's an area that, and I agree with you on wide receiver, by the way. I don't think that in free agency we got the slot receiver that we really need.
No, and Edelman's gone.
Yeah, the guy who will replace Julian Edelman. We need a slot receiver also, which if only we could pick Devontae Smith, because he would be a great slot guy. But instead of putting a small guy in the middle to take it down the field, they're going to put tight ends down the middle, like the 2 tight ends that we picked up.
Because that's the Bill system. Henry. That's the Belichick system. He loves tight ends.
I love the concept of a 2 tight end offense, even with Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Okay, even if we're with Cam Newton next year, I adore having both of those guys in the backfield ready to catch or to block.
Oh yeah.
It's remember the days of Aaron Hernandez and Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Like that team, you can't defend that team. So that's my thought.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's
Before you move on, Robbie, I want to hear your opinion. Like, what do you think that the Patriots should?
Yeah,
positions?
It's a really good question. I think I'm kind of in agreement with both of you guys. I think either defensive back or wide receiver. I mean, I'd love to get Smith, but that's obviously less than likely to happen. But again, you hit the nail right on the head with the defensive backs. Obviously, Chung's retired. Gilmore. Who knows?
He might be traded. He might be traded in this draft.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows where he's going? So I think if you're looking defensively, I think if you're looking defensively for me, it's got to be the defensive backs. And if you're looking offensively for me, besides the quarterback, obviously, it's got to be a receiver. I think you're right on in terms of slot receiver. Obviously to replace Edelman. I think we did pick up some receivers in free agency, which is great, but we definitely need that one sort of specific piece there. That Edelman used to fill for so many years. But I think I like I said, I think you got to go receiver, DB. Besides, the glaring quarterback position as we were talking about. So
if they end up like keeping most of their picks, you guys, I think that they will take some offensive line depth later in the draft.
Makes sense.
But I am convinced they are not picking 10 players in the next 3 days. I'm convinced of that.
That's-
They're
that's on
they're
that
gonna
too.
they're gonna pass some of those off to 2022. They don't have the room,
Right. Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. No, that totally makes sense. Wanted to ask both of you. I know we touched upon this before, but we never really mentioned. I mean, we mentioned a whole bunch of names, but I wanted to get your personal opinion about which out of the quarterbacks that would be left. Out of the quarterbacks, you could pick any quarterback that you wanted to pick right now. I mean, you could pick 7 or 8 of them at this point. But out of the quarterbacks that are left, which quarterback would you think, other than Jimmy G, which one would you say would fit the best with the things that you brought up before, Josh, which is the system, coachable, that kind of thing? Which out of the quarterbacks do you think, except for obviously the first couple, maybe first 2 or 3?
Right. Take them out of the mix.
Yeah,
'cause we
take
know
them
what
out of
we
it. We're not talking about the first at least 2, if not 3, but definitely 2. Which out of the ones, and again, I don't know if you know this, Josh, but Las Vegas is picking, this is crazy. And I know crazy bets happen and that stuff. But Las Vegas is picking the Patriots to pick up, it's a plus 250 to pick up Fields. Like, what? What are you talking about? Anyway, so
Well,
to
it's
go
not
back-
a minus,
go to
so
back- right.
it's not a minus. So it's
That's where
still
they get the information from.
it's still
the
a risky
pundits.
bet.
Yeah,
But
it is. And then you got other bets that are even more crazy. Just wanted to ask both of you, which quarterback do you think could fit in the system?
Robbie, what do you think? Let's start with you.
Yeah, Ron.
Yeah, I think there are sort of 2 names that sort of stick out for me. And I'll be completely upfront. I have not done as much draft homework as it seems like you guys have. So I'm doing my best here. But
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Even if you say you don't know, that's not a
I
problem.
haven't done that much, really. I've watched the NFL Network for the past 3 nights. That's
I mean,
all.
if you want me to take it, I'll give you.
no,
A
no,
Okay, go ahead.
Robbie's
no,
always
no,
got something. Robbie's always got something.
I have 2 names sort of raring to go here. One is Fields. But then the other one, depending on if Fields, decides to sort of slide back, wait to maybe one of those next couple rounds to pick a quarterback. The other name is Kyle Trask. Having watched him in Florida, I've been very impressed with his game, especially his passing game, so to speak. And so I think I don't know, for some reason, for me watching him, there's something about his game that screams that he would fit in well in the system. So I'm thinking if they pick at 15 and Fields is there, again, another sort of a dual threat there. But if not, just the one that stands out for me is Kyle Trask. So that's where I'm kind of at this moment.
Remember what I said? Remember when I said that this could change on a dime? I mean, it could change on a dime. My thought is on this is that if Justin Fields falls in the draft, gets to 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever it is, remember, like 11 through 14, none of those teams are looking for a quarterback. Okay. I just feel like Fields might be the option, and I'll tell you why. Josh McDaniel likes his new playbook with Cam Newton. And I just think Fields could learn from Cam Newton because Fields is Cam Newton 10 years ago, in my view. Something like he's the same type of athlete, and it's the same playbook as far as I'm concerned. So I can imagine a scenario whereby a Fields drops that they would try to go get Fields. I can imagine that. Okay. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. But I like how he fits in with Newton. Like you basically give Newton the ball on day one. Maybe you do what Miami did last year with Tua. You just sort of, see how he's working in practice, and maybe you start him like game 7 or whatever. I can imagine that. If Mac Jones falls, I think San Francisco is going to take Mac Jones. But if Mac Jones falls, like he's a Brady kind of guy. I feel like, he's pocket passer, really freaking accurate, smart guy, out of a program that Bill worked with all the time, the Alabama program. I mean, he works with that coaching staff all the time. I can imagine that they would, but if they do get Mac Jones, I think that they would try to. I honestly believe that the quarterback position would change significantly in New England, and Cam Newton might not even be on the field or be on the team by August.
It would be very interesting, to see, because I mean, I've sort of been under the impression, again, even with the talk about drafting a quarterback, I've just been under this impression that Cam is going to be ultimately going to be the guy this year. I can't explain it. And
I think you're right.
I hope that I'm wrong. I really do hope that I'm wrong. But I've just, since they brought him back and just looking at that contract and all these different things, there's just been something screaming at me saying he's going to be, at least as of right now, he's going to be the guy come day one. Now, again, Bill moves in mysterious ways, so who knows how these next few days and months are going to go. But that's sort of where my head is at with Cam. I had sort of a curiosity question. Again, obviously, who knows how these guys are going to do professionally? These guys are about to be drafted. But I was curious to get your guys' take. Is there one quarterback, one quarterback in this draft that stands above maybe the others in terms of a quarterback that you could see having the most potential to have a Tom Brady like or another great quarterback like NFL career?
If you talk to the pundits, it's Trevor Lawrence.
Right. Hear everybody saying the same thing.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence was the first pick in the draft, but long before the NFL season ended. Like it was a Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, and the Jets decided to win a couple of games. But I'm not sure. Like,
yeah,
I'm really not sure because, like, I mean, you brought up Kyle Trask earlier. Like, I can imagine a scenario whereby out of the three, Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, and Mills, I can imagine that one of those three is the best quarterback out of this class. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
You just don't know. And this is why I think, like, Belichick doesn't, like, he doesn't pick a guy in the first round. He picks guys who he thinks everybody's missed. Jimmy Garoppolo is a good example.
Tom Brady, good example.
Tom Brady is that's a freakish thing.
No, I know. I just thought to bring him up that way.
I mean, that's just freaky. You've
seen his draft photo. Have you seen his draft photo?
Yeah, I have. He looks like me.
He looks like me too.
He looks like me.
Yeah,
he
does not look like a quarterback. Yeah,
But I mean, it's just you get lucky sometimes. I don't know. To answer your question, Robbie, it's like I can't even forecast that because I don't know if maybe the guy that I think has the greatest potential is Mac Jones, but at the end of the day, like I feel like Mac Jones is a throwback to some degree,
right? Like
a true pocket passer, like somebody who in 2003 would be the first. But in 2021, is not the first round pick because you want the athletic guy. That's my thought on that.
Right. I think what's exciting about the NFL draft is that you have it's one of those things that is, once a pick happens, it's solidified, but you have no idea. Everybody gets so excited. Oh yeah, Trevor Lawrence. Oh yeah, yeah. And all of a sudden he's a freaking dud. So you never know. You have no clue about what happens. I think, we get real frustrated, and I'm sure everybody's frustrated with Bill and how he does things. Yeah, Bill, like I talk to him every day. Bill and Mr. Belichick, and how we, we're frustrated because we never know what he's going to do. But what he does is he doesn't use emotion with it. He uses logic, which I think is perfect. He has a certain set of criteria. That's what he uses, and that's what he goes with 100% of the time. He doesn't go against it, although every once in a while he throws you a curve. But he throws you the curve because of there's a reason he throws you a curve.
He hasn't been a great drafter though, right?
He
he
really
hasn't
hasn't.
drafted great.
No, he really hasn't.
So
He really hasn't.
they brought in a few other guys. They've made some changes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something different this year in the draft on the draft board.
Matt Patricia has supposedly been a guy who's been very, very.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Very. I heard some many reports that
very
he's been
involved,
very involved in this particular draft, and Matt Patricia's pretty good. Maybe not that great of a coach. Head coach, but he's certainly probably knows his guys and knows what he's doing on that end. I wanted to ask you both about, there's some reports out there that Aaron Rodgers is having a little bit of a problem. He's just came out a few hours ago, and he is what they call in the industry disgruntled. And I'm not really sure what that means, except there's reports after that, as we get more and more information, and we don't even know if the information's right or not. But we get more and more information about the fact that he just wants a new contract, and Green Bay has been sitting down with him, and the GM has been sitting down with him, and the owner, and all, like, hey, we'll give you whatever you want, Aaron, blah, blah, blah. Still disgruntled. Wanted to know if there's a possibility of him being in the mix here, possibly, if for some reason we don't get Jimmy D.
I don't see him coming here. It sounds like there are a few teams that are sort of on his wish list, so to speak. I'm not feeling the vibes of him coming here. You never know, but right now I'm just, my gut instinct tells me that no, he's not going to be, he's not a possibility here. I'm not even sure if he'll even actually be leaving Green Bay. He says he wants out, but my gut tells me that they might work something out there now, especially now that he's really on the record as, wanting out. Maybe something will happen behind the scenes there. So I'd love to have him. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have Aaron Rodgers, but I just don't see it happening at this point.
Yeah, so Aaron Rodgers is 38 years old.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
And they drafted his replacement last year
Yeah.
in an early round.
Yeah.
Now we know why he's disgruntled.
And so from that standpoint, I can understand why he might be a little disgruntled. Just a little. I heard a rumor that San Francisco was willing to give up number 3. And a bunch of other picks for Aaron Rodgers. It's like, I want to go win now. I'm gonna go grab Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why they would do something like that, but then again, they're giving up on Jimmy Garoppolo because he's made of glass. So who knows? But I don't have any interest from the standpoint of he's very expensive. I think the Patriots at this moment need to start looking towards the future, because they should have started looking towards the future 3 years ago, and they didn't. And while we all pray to the Belichick idol, the problem is that they really didn't prepare for this situation at all.
Hmm.
And they gave up the guy that was going to be the future, and they stayed with Brady, and then they let Brady go. And they didn't have a backup plan. Their backup plan was a guy who looked washed up in 2020. Not saying he is, and maybe COVID really hit him hard in 2020. He had first couple games were pretty good.
Yeah.
And maybe he's great now. He'll be fantastic this year, but I just think that they didn't come in with a plan. So like going after Aaron Rodgers feels backwards to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it's definitely backwards. I think, and he had a few good games with really terrible teams toward the end too. He looked like he was Mr. Superstar, but
He won. What's Aaron Rodgers won?
Yeah, hasn't done anything.
I mean, has he won? Has he won one Super Bowl?
No, he's won one. He's won one.
Yeah, one Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like because he's older, he seems like he's going to want a lot of money. That's the first thing, and the second thing is that he's older, and it's time. You're right, Josh. It's time to look toward the future and see if we can find the quarterback of the future. He's just. I just think you're right. I think it's him totally moving. If we were to even think about that, that would be moving backwards. Even the Jimmy G situation. Jimmy G's young. He knows the system. He's studied under Brady for a few years. Even Jimmy G being made of glass, I would absolutely take him over Aaron Rodgers in a heartbeat. Just because, I mean, he's younger, and it's a different kind of quarterback. It's just a different kind of situation.
Here's an interesting question. Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So, who do you think is older, Cam Newton or Jimmy Garoppolo?
That's a great question, because Cam Newton, I think, just
without Googling.
No, I'm not.
Who do you think is older?
I'm going to
say
go with my gut here and go Jimmy.
I'm going to go with my gut and say Jimmy too.
Yeah, you're close. Actually, Jimmy is not older, but they are around the same age. Garoppolo is 30. Newton is 31.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, we all look at Newton as if he's 39 years old. He's not.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Well, he acts that. So I guess that's
well, his throwing motion feels like he's 39, but but they're essentially the same age. People don't think about that. He was the first pick in the 2010 draft.
Something like
11 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he won the Heisman. Right around then as well. Yeah, so it's been about a decade. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're about the same age.
That's another, but again, that's another concern I have about Jimmy G. That he is older. Because he's getting older, he could be prone to more injury, and that's another concern I have. So
I mean,
it makes
30.
sense. But, I know he's obviously young for a quarterback, but I'm just saying that's as the quarterbacks get older, you worry about the being more injury as their
and
body
he's been
starts.
He's always been injured, even in his 20s. So
Right.
I agree with you his concern. That's why I want, if they do the Jimmy G thing, you want a quarterback behind him.
Yes,
right,
absolutely.
A young
totally.
guy.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We are pretty much at the end of our show right now. So typically at the end of the show, what we do is we do our final thoughts. Final thought could be anything in the whole world, wherever that is, and it could be anything that you could possibly think of. So that's what we do at the end. So we are going to let's go to Josh. Josh, do you have one, or should I go to Robbie first?
No, I'll do it.
Okay,
all right,
Josh,
so my prediction. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this by prediction, okay?
All right.
Prediction is that the Patriots will select at 15. They won't go up or down. And they will make a deal with San Francisco this weekend for Jimmy G. And they will pick one of those three guys, Mond, Mills, or Trask in the second round. And 15 will be either that Micah Parsons
Horn
or one of the cornerbacks.
You put
And
JC Waddle in there too, Josh?
Waddle's going to get picked earlier. If he
Gonna get
doesn't,
picked
then
earlier?
they should
Yeah.
jump on him.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought.
But that's my prediction.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you. I think that, first of all, I just want to say, big thank you to Josh for coming on the show. It was a very real pleasure having you on. So thank you.
Thank you.
But second of all, I agree. I think they're going to go. I've been kind of going back and forth on this. I think I've kind of been pulled this side of, I think they're going to go defense with number 15 and pick one of those defensive backs and try to get a quarterback like Travis Slater, especially if they, like Josh is saying, make a deal for Jimmy G, even after the fact. But I think that's what Bill is going to end up doing, is picking defense at number 15. So I agree.
Yeah, that totally makes sense out of both of you. I actually have two final thoughts, because I always do. I got two. My first final thought is a prediction. I'm kind of in your realm, in both of your realms, where I think that's probably what's going to happen. But I'm going to put a little caveat of it. It's like we said before, if Justin Fields, for some reason, and maybe it's Cleveland has an earthquake and something happens. I'm not really sure what. Again, I'm just trying to think of something that may happen that could stop him from being picked a lot earlier, which is absolutely nothing. But if Fields for some reason drops and drops, I think, Josh, you were the one who said it, and Robbie agrees with that. I think that they will try to go and get him. But other than that, I think they will pick somebody from the defense. And be able to pick somebody in the second round, a Trask, a Mond, a Mills, somebody like that, in the second round, just to kind of back up if they get Jimmy G or they keep Cam. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. My second one is that I just wanted to tell you, I don't know if you've heard, but Tim Tebow is back in the news. Cannot believe this. When I saw it, I actually dropped my phone. So the Jaguars decided to bring Tim Tebow in, I guess, I was hoping for a prayer, but I guess maybe not. And they actually brought him in to do a workout. And it's not for what you think. Actually, for the tight end position. So I think that's kind of
Makes
interesting.
perfect sense to me.
It makes perfect sense. Well,
Tight end
also,
doesn't make sense. Yeah.
well, if all their quarterbacks go down, including Trevor Lawrence, I guess they'll be able to have Tim Tebow play quarterback. So
Does anybody know the last time Tim Tebow was in the NFL? Does anybody know?
I don't.
He was with the
remember.
Patriots briefly in
He
the
was with the
preseason.
Patriots, right.
It was 2000. It was 2013.
2013.
2013.
was totally off.
8 years ago.
Wow.
Okay, I thought he was playing baseball. I thought he was. I don't know.
He was
Why?
playing. He was playing
That,
tight
yeah.
end in baseball. Apparently, I don't know.
Oh, that's right.
There
We
was
gotta
a
watch out
position.
for that, by the way. So it's a family show, but yeah, he's playing
Family
tight
show.
end in baseball. Family show, right? So yeah, so that's just crazy to me. So it's again not a big deal, but I do want to thank Josh for coming on, giving some really terrific insights, and coming on and spending some time with us. We
Thanks,
had
guys.
we had a great time, and hopefully you'll come on again. I know you went to River State Camp with all three of us, and it's one of those things where we'll have you on for a River show, I'm sure, down the road, and maybe some sports, maybe some baseball. We want to hear your baseball thoughts on the Red Sox and what they're doing too. So we'll probably have you on down the road. But thank you so much for coming on,
Thank you so much,
Josh.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's Doug and Robbie from the Sports Blitz, episode number 82. Thanks for watching. Remember, we are on, Robbie, we're on Facebook.
Facebook, YouTube, Twitter,
SoundCloud.
Shout out to our
Facebook,
sponsor
yep.
again, Zimon Organizing.
That's right. That's
Link
right.
in the description. Absolutely.
And remember, when you see the show, please at the end, subscribe and hit the
The
bell.
bell.
That's right. Thank you so much for coming on, Josh. And thank you, Robbie. And we'll see you sometime down the road.
Smash
Here,
the like
everybody.
button.